This cart is quite a traditional, normal kind of Scottish cart. They call them a bogie cart, and it's a horse-drawn version. You can see all the tackle up there, which is made by the local blacksmith. The coopers would have made the wheels and the round metal rim, red hot, and they had the stone circle to put them on, and all made at home. The floorboards from our old house recycled to make the boards in it. This kind of cart, however, was taken by the settlers with Lord Selkirk to the Orkneys, and they set off and went up to the Red River Valley in Canada. Well, this is more or less the border between the USA and Canada, and the debatable land. And in America, this is called a Red River cart. And they always say, well, they didn't have many nails, so these carts are held together by wooden pegs, and all the furniture in the interior there is held, including the box bed there, are held together by wooden pegs. That was standard. But here, these bolts and things are made by the blacksmith. So this is an integral part of the story of the beginning of the settlement of North America. Not only the cart, but the longhouses that they lived in, the Sutherland longhouses. And it was in the Red River settlement, others like it, that the Highlanders, from other parts of the Highlands as well, with different styles, but they taught the settlers to make the houses in that way. Right. Which enabled them to survive minus 50 degrees centigrade in winter and so on.
Would every croft sort of holder have one of these carts?
They did. Later on, you see, they were adapted to be pulled by tractors and so on. Right. And they actually had a mechanism to cowp it without taking it off the horse. Originally, all that harness would have been there. It would take ages to undo it and then to tip your peats down into a heap. And they had a hinge, and you could actually, it was so well balanced, you could virtually just use a finger like that, and a heavy load could be just tipped off. As soon as you pulled the bolt out, it was just ready to go. So all over where I came from, in Angus and Perthshire, there are carts like these. They're all rotting away now.
Where did this one actually come from?
It came from up Strathnaver, so around about Inchlampi around there, I think. And they were great friends of Ian Grumble, and he said this is a total part of the story, and particularly with relevance to North America. So there it stands.
Okay.
It's on a par with the boat, because that was what they had to do. So. But if you're taking your peats, once they made roads in, you could take a cart like that along the track, and then they would carry the peats out with like stretchers between two men with a flat boardy thing, and they put the peats on. This is before they could use wheelbarrows, because they were too boggy. Yeah. This is a peat tray, just as I was describing with the cart. You have a man standing there, one there, these handles, just like stretcher bearers, say in the First World War, something like that. And you pile your peats on that and cart them out across the rough moorland, which was, before they drained them, you couldn't take a wheelbarrow because it was just so muddy and sticky and so. The one on the card on the tombstone and in the actual artefact, that's a very, very important link, actually.
So nowadays we cut peats with a machine.
Yes, indeed.
Years ago, this is what they would have used.
So this is fairly standard over the Highlands and maybe even Yorkshire and so on, where people cut peat. You had this flochter, that was for stripping the sphagnum moss and the turf off the surface of it. The different kinds of implements coming right up to the present day with the machines, but this was a Tarasker or a Tusker, and it's got a bit of a telegraph pole.
Recycling?
Recycling, got ducting tape. And so that takes us up in the 20th century. But these two here are very old and very unique. This one here It's actually a variation on a narrow spade, and they've added the knife part as a later improvement. If you come round, I'll show you exactly the same implement on this tombstone. 1747. You have a skull and crossbones, which is symbols of mortality. The heraldic crest of the tack man, who thought of himself as the 33rd cousin of the Lord Ray, or something like that. There's a bell, there's an hourglass, and down below is a coffin. But we have life and death as well, because there is the grave digger's spade, and this is the peat spade. And if you look at it, it's the knife shape, is in actual fact one of these. With this added, I mean, the sculptor just gave up on that, and perhaps they didn't have them on them at that particular time. These are almost the only ones in existence of exactly of that shape. And the symbolism was that peat made you warm. If the peat fire went out, the house just crumbled into the ground and eventually disappeared, except if you look down from a helicopter. Biodegradable houses, and the whole of life was summed up with the peat spade and the grave digger spade.